Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. I've had to come inside, it's just way too warm, so I've got the air conditioning right above me, so I'll just enjoy this here. Oh! So, today we're doing another beer that was recommended by Michael, who on the comments recommended a couple of beers. And I think I got it wrong the last time. This is the one he enjoyed fresh at the tap house, because this is a Porto beer from the Nortada brewery, microbrewery, and they also have a kind of tap house. And he enjoyed this one fresh, and he recommended the Imperial Stout. So I got a bottle of the Imperial Stout, and this is what we've got. So it's Jesus, it's Imperial Stout from Nortada, 8.5%. It's 30 IBUs. It's a I think it's 330ml bottle. I'm trying to remember now. This brewery, I think, was established in 2017, but going by some of the beers I've had, because I had, oh God, what have I had from them? I had a Vienna lager that was lovely. And yeah, so let's just see what it says on yours. Strong majestic, the Queen of Stouts has arrived, the favourite beer of the Russian Tsars, with its dense foam and breeze of coffee and notes of chocolate. It's a pity we cannot multiply it like Matrioskas. So there we go. And yes, it's a fresh beer. So it is. Any other details? It's produced in Porto. So what we got here? So richness is 2 out of 3. Bitterness is 1 out of 3. Maltiness is almost 3 out of 3, just slightly short of 3. And hoppiness is less than 1 out of 3. So there you go. So let's crack this open and see what Michael has recommended us. Thanks, Michael, for any kind of recommendations, because you're always coming in here blind, so any type of help is more than appreciated. So thanks for that. There we go, I'm giving it a half finger pour. It's very dark, looks very rich. This looks darker than the other ones. Smell wise, yep, you're getting nice roasty grain smells, a little bit of malt there, just a little bit of kind of hints of molasses, and you're also getting a kind of slight kind of sweety kind of smells as well, kind of slightly syrupy smells. So let's see what it tastes like. Right. This has a little bit more malt than the previous one I had. The previous one I had was that was an extra stout, so it was, and yeah, this has got a little bit more richness to it, a little bit more sweetness to it. It's got a little bit more richness from the malt, but again, yeah, nice roasted grain tones, and it's got a nice, it has got a nice little bit of chocolateness, not overly bitter. I would probably say the last one is a little bit more of a bitterness to it. This is slightly less in the bitterness state, but it's a nice kind of syrupy richness to it. This is a different animal. This is a richer animal. What you do not notice is the alcohol. This is 8.5%, and seriously, you wouldn't notice. You're not picking up any alcohol or ethanol flavours, which is really good, obviously. But yes, it's still hot even under the blooming air conditioning. God. But yeah, it's nice, but it's nice in a different way. But this one is a different animal. This one, the other one I could probably have drunk a little bit more, which was the extra stout. It was a bit more sessionable. This is a bit more of a kind of end of the night to be enjoyed kind of stout. It's nice. It requires a little bit more, a little bit more complexity of flavour. While the other one had nice kind of fresh, a bit lighter flavours, but nice and fresh and just lovely tones. This one has a little bit more complexity to it, a little bit more richness to it. And yeah, it's one of these ones that needs to be savoured rather than sunk. But again, really nice tones, and it is a little bit more sweeter, this one. But you can see where the sweetness has come from. You can identify it because it links so much with the malt. A nice kind of, and again, it's the other one had a slight kind of smokiness to it, but this one is there's a little bit more toffee, sweetness to it, as well as the kind of molasses or black treacle kind of edge to it. It has a bitterness, but not too much. It has a kind of a richer chocolate edge to it, but without the kind of level of bitterness as the previous one. So yeah, it's not like a really kind of dark chocolate. There's a bit more richness to this one. And yeah, overall, it's very nice. It's very nice. But it's nice. I've tried two stouts, and they are quite different, but nice in their own way and delivering their own kind of flavour message. And it shows you that there's a difference in the recipe and everything else, which is good. Because it's giving you the options of what you fancy, what you're kind of in the mood for, also maybe what the season is and everything else. I mean, this one is a bit richer for this type of climate right now because it's quite warm. This would be nicer in cooler weather, maybe in a nice autumn, spring, or maybe even getting into the winter. This is one that you could sit there and savour. Got a couple of them, cool winter's evening, sit back, maybe a roaring fire, enjoy, and just reflect on the day. This is a calming beer, a beer to be enjoyed at a slow pace. But it's nice, it's just a lovely, there is a bit more complex in the flavours and there's more levels of flavour. Whereas the other one was quite fresh in its flavours, but nice all the same. But this is a different animal. Yeah, let's break down the flavours. Yeah, start off getting a little bit more toffee tones, along with some nice molasses tones, or black treacle. But you're getting a little bit more sweetness with that as well. It seems to be a little bit more malt in this one, whereas of course stouts is usually about the roasted grains. It supports us about the roasted malts, but this has got a little bit more malt to it, so it's kind of balancing out a little bit the roasted grains. So while you're not getting so much bitterness from the roasted grains, you are getting a little bit more sweetness from the malts. But that's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But what you gain in the roundabouts, you lose in the swings, as I say. So what you've gained is a little bit more sweetness from the malt, but you've lost that little bit of bitterness coming from the grains. And it's not a bad thing because it adds a little bit more richness, and basically it gives us a different dimension to the flavour. So instead of it being kind of, a dark bitter chocolate, you're getting more of a kind of slightly kind of rich chocolatier kind of chocolate. It's still a very good quality chocolate. It's not as bitter, as slightly raw as you would get normally. But what it is because of that little bit of sweetness and everything else and things like that, it just gives you that more of a kind of chocolatier kind of richness to it, to the chocolate tones. And it feels just a little bit, there's a couple of layers of chocolate there. So the chocolate flavour's a little bit stronger, but it doesn't have that bitterness to go along with it. Has a little bit more sweetness, and it feels more of a kind of like, it's a bit of a strange, but it feels more like a kind of finished, tempered kind of chocolate coming from a nice kind of chocolatier in Paris or in Belgium or something like that. And it just, there's a richness to it, there's a slightly Christmas feel to it. When you got all these kind of Christmas porters and stouts and all this kind of bollocks at Christmas time in the UK, and they're about as Christmassy as a fucking melted Easter egg, you know what I mean? Whereas this actually feels slightly a bit more kind of associated with kind of the festive period, and just nicer. It really is very nice. But it is a different, well, the other one was very, very nice and enjoyable. This is also very, very nice and enjoyable. And a bit more complex. So let's kind of break down the flavours. Like I said, front of the mouth, you're getting a little bit more of the toffee. And black treacle stroke molasses kind of edge, and you're getting quite a bit more sweetness associated with that. You've still got the roasty grains there, but they're not playing as big a part as they were in a previous one I tasted. They're a little bit kind of dialed back a bit, and as it transfers over to the kind of mid-tongue, as that chocolate starts to come through, and you're not really getting any kind of, the same coffee, I'm struggling to kind of feel the coffee a bit. There might be a little bit of coffee there, but with the richness and the sweetness, it's kind of maybe a little bit lost. But what you are doing is getting quite a few different layers of chocolate with a little bit of bitterness, but not much. It's more about a very kind of rich, glossy kind of chocolate kind of edge to it. And it just works well with that sweetness. So that kind of chocolate is working with the sweetness, but it's just a little bit more. And it just makes it a different animal. And as it moves on from the back of the mouth, or moves on to the back of the mouth from the end of the mid-tongue, you're getting a little bit of bitterness, but really not much. Really not much. It's all about the richness. It's all about a little bit of sweetness, rich chocolate edges, that type of stuff. And it feels more luxurious. It feels more tempered. So it does. And as the flavours dissipate, it's all about the chocolate edge there. There's a very rich chocolate edge and not about the bitterness. So there isn't really any bitterness to finish, but there's a kind of richness, and that chocolate and the sweetness kind of tend to dissipate all at the kind of one time. It doesn't hang about too much, but it does have a little bit of linger, and it's just very nice, and it's a very calming one. It's one of these ones where you'll just sit back and just reflect on a period in your life while drinking it, good or bad. And it's a thought-provoking beer. But very nice. Very, very surprising to have something like this, as rich as this, coming from, I keep saying this, but you've got to look at it from the point of view that Portugal, Spain, all these type of kind of countries, it's all about kind of the lighter beers. It's all about more kind of lagers and everything else. You look at the bigger brands, they're all kind of lagers. You get Sagres black, and you also get super bulk black, but they're kind of just dark lagers, really. They're not really complex in the flavours, let's be totally honest. But then you get into these type of things, and it's just nice to see the microbreweries actually making real beer and making the beer the right way, not trying to be smart or trying to be the attention-seeking kid in the classroom, that type of stuff. It's like they've done their homework and they're actually making very, very nice beers. Very mature and controlled beers that in a lot of ways are missing in a lot of the market in the UK. And I'll be totally honest, if these beers started to kind of make their way to the UK, traditional beer drinkers would be drinking them. Let's be totally honest, they would be, without a shadow of a doubt. And a lot of kind of existing, I'm just looking. I'm looking at some of the breweries. I'll be totally honest, some of the beers that I've had, they put Black Sheep to shame. They put Green King to shame. They put Adams to shame. I can keep on going. And you're sitting there thinking, seriously? These are well-known breweries, and to a certain degree kind of respected breweries. But they're not producing beers of this quality. They might have the odd one, but they certainly don't have the consistency, and they certainly don't have the monopoly on good beers. Let's be totally honest, Black Sheep produce more piss than they do good beers. Green King, well, let's be totally honest, they're very much of a muchness. They're kind of kicking about average, maybe slightly above average, but nothing special. Adams, well, let's be totally honest, I find a lot of times their beers are kind of slightly wanting. So they are. The Southwold Bitter's okay, it's fine, no problem. Slightly above average, but nothing special. The Ghost Ship, it's okay, but I feel that it's the case, it's very one-dimensional. They went down the hop route and everything else, and if you're not really into the mood for the hops, then it's very easy to walk away from that beer. Plenty of times I've sat there and I've looked at it thinking, no, I'm not in the mood for that type of flavour tonight, really not. And just walked away from it. And I'm sure there's plenty of people who do the same. And then, of course, they did their English lager, which, let's be totally honest, was an abomination. Absolute piss water. It was dreadful. I don't know what they were trying to do, but it was just dreadful. So, I can name quite a few breweries that their products are well below par compared to what I'm trying just now. And that's a shame. But if these beers do come to the UK, then the UK is going to have some real problems. Some of these breweries are really going to struggle. They're okay, they can get away with it because of the shit that we put forward as artisanal and craft, which is all just, let's hop the tits off a pale ale and call it an IPA. And let's have multiple IPAs and everything else, so they can get away with it. But if they have to compete in a climate where you've got good microbreweries making good traditional beers, really good, fresh, traditional beers, then let's be totally honest, the breweries I've mentioned, they're not going to stand up to it. Seriously, they're not. They would be found wanting. So there you go, there's a wake-up call. So, what would I give this out of 10? I'm going to give it an 8.5 quite easily. It's an easy 8.5. 8.5 out of 10. Really nice, really enjoyable. I just wish I was opening these type of bottles around about Christmas time last year. When I was up in Scotland and I'm sitting there drinking piss water from Marks and Spencer's, and it's supposed to be festive beers, and I think, seriously, Christmas porters and all this shit, and you think it's absolutely undrinkable, absolutely horrendous. And then there we go, less than 6 months later, I'm sitting in Portugal drinking the beers I should have been drinking last Christmas. It's really sad, really is sad. But yeah, fair play to Portugal and the microbreweries. You've got the right attitude and you're going in the right direction. And I hope you do bring some of these beers to the UK, because I think we need them. I'll be totally honest, I think we need them, and I think it'd be a good wake-up call to some of the breweries who are producing mediocre piss water. I think it would do the microbreweries in Portugal a load of good, because I think they'd have a good market in the UK. And I think it'd be good for traditional beer drinkers, because it would highlight again what they've lost over the years and give them a good reminder of what they should be getting and what they're missing. And I think it'd be good for everybody. What it wouldn't be good for is all these crappy breweries now that are producing mediocre beers. It wouldn't be good for them, but at the end of the day, if they're going to keep on producing beers like they have been, they don't deserve to be in business. I really honestly. I mean, let's be totally honest, I'm looking at Black Sheep and things like that as a good example, and even Adams when they've got some issues and that type of stuff. And previously in the past I said it would be a shame to lose them. I don't think it is anymore. I think the time has really come. I think we're just kind of delaying the inevitable, because they're just producing shit, let's be totally honest. So yeah, this is an 8.5 out of 10. It's 8.5% ABV, 330ml bottle. I would highly recommend it. It's very enjoyable. It really is. It's lovely. So thanks for watching. Cheers and bye for now.